Remind me, why are we here again? Growled Bakugou. And you sighed. Why do you never listen? I'm only here to smash goblins. God, I hate goblins. I hate them! Shouted the berserker. Instinctively you tightened the grip around your staff. Berserkers had the tendency to attack their own allies if angered enough, and you really didn't want your quest to fail now that you and your party had been on this journey for a few days now. Past the Valley of the Scorned and various small outposts of orcs. You bit your lower lip before you explained as brief as possible. The city of Aquarius wishes us to retrieve a rare fruit from the Garden of Fate so they can power their city or something. I didn't read the small print. Even you were annoyed by this task. Feeling as sending a larger group than just you, a lowly apprentice of the Order of Dawn, Bakugou, king over a tribe of berserkers, and the dark elf ranger Tokoyama, who had left your party for days into your travels for some personal mission he needed to finish before joining you, would have been a better choice, considering the fact that if the power of the city did run out, the mechanical guardians protecting it would shut down, leaving the city open to attacks. This is bullshit, gathering some dumb fruits. Bakugou's disapproving growls only motivated you more to finish the quest as fast as possible. In front of the two of you was a large, open and inviting-looking gate. Fields of flowers, cherry blossom trees, and exotic plants stretched across the horizon. Whoever owns this garden is clearly overcompensating. You mumbled sarcastically, and Bakugou chuckled in response. With careful steps you entered this magical place. Your destination was at the center of these gigantic fields of nothing but nature at its most beautiful. Not to mention, it really was a beautiful day today. You heard birds chirping happily and the endless sea of blooming flowers gave you a tranquil, yet determined feeling. You glanced at your companion. Was he feeling at ease as well? Judging by his relaxed eyes and slightly quivering lip, you concluded that the Berserker King didn't want to admit that he liked it here. Hey look, a rainbow! He suddenly exclaimed. Didn't you say something about rainbows? You nodded. The books tell about the garden and mention 3 different rainbows that never vanish within it. One points at the center, one points at the exit. Wait, exit? He interrupted you. Yes, of course. We can't leave through the way we came in. It closes as soon as we lose sight of it. He gave you a resolute shrug and you grinned. See, without my dumb books, you would not have known this and probably starved in search for an exit. Then again, he could live off of the garden's wildlife. After all creatures that lived here were quite harmless. Anyways, the 3rd rainbow leads to a fountain, which reveals the name of your true love upon drinking its water, which is why this place is called the Garden of Fate. He laughed. This is the most girly thing I ever heard. You crossed your arms and pouted. Well, I find it cute, and aren't you at least a little bit curious as to who might be a perfect match? Bakugou shrugged with a smug grin. Who cares about true love? I have my own harem at home. You grunted in both disgust and disappointment. Both of you fell silent as you enjoyed the sights of the garden. When the sun had reached its highest point, you two had arrived at a small spring. It wasn't the fountain you were secretly hoping to find, and it seemed that the center of this place was also still far, far away. "Wanna take a break?" you suggested. He simply nodded, followed by him immediately dropping the few bits of armor he was wearing and jumping in. You blushed as you watched his surprisingly graceful swimming. The water caressed his toned muscles perfectly. He noticed you staring at him and gave you a dirty look. "Like what you see?" With a yelp, you looked away and blushed. You heard him swim closer. Come on. Don't be so prude. It's not like you saw this already." "Yeah, but usually when I get to see it, you're covered in bleeding wounds," was your only reply. He sighed. "Wanna join me for a dip?" Trust me, I won't peek." You didn't trust him, and simply stood up. No, I'll be going. Remember what I said about the rainbows? One of them leads to our exit and— Yeah, I know," he barked. "One is the exit, and one is a stupid tree." You groaned, and then went on your way. Now that you were alone, the inviting aura of the garden seemed to slightly disappear. As if being with the berserker was what was giving this place its magic. Even the sun had begun to set. And then you finally reached your personal reason for accepting the quest. The fountain. The fountain of true love. It looked absolutely beautiful. It was carved out of pure marble. Its water had light pink hues. And in its middle stood a statue of a nymph embracing a knight in shining armor. The water itself seemed to spew out of the knight's back and the nymph's head, making the water look like her hair and his cape respectively. You gulped. Somehow, you were intimidated by the sight, while at the same time enchanted by it. What if you drank from the fountain, and your true love would be someone who was absolutely repulsive, like an orc? The way the magic of the water worked was that upon drinking it, your true love would desire to just randomly travel to a place close to you, and be inclined to immediately strike up a conversation with you. After taking a deep breath, you slowly walked over to it. The water had additional properties. Outside of its effect on your future partner, it also smelled the person. The scholars theorized that it tasted like your favorite dessert, even if you haven't eaten it yet, and smelled like your favorite flower, even when you didn't know what your favorite flower was. For you, the water smelled like lavender perfume. Next, you slowly reached into the fountain's bowl. Using your hands, you took a long and refreshing sip. You gave a satisfied groan. "Strawberry shortcake," you said out loud, while the liquid was quickly drifting down your throat. Your heart paused for a moment as a feeling of warmth came over you. And your legs became wobbly maybe you should take a moment. Yeah, just a small nap to refresh. Soon your prince would arrive, and together you would retrieve the energy fruit, saving Aquarius and becoming its heroine. And slowly you drifted off to sleep. Hey, wake up, dumbass! A rough voice woke you up. You blinked those eyes. Hey, you said with a sleep-drunken tone. How are you? He chuckled. You drunk or something? The warm feeling still hasn't left you. No, I'm fine. Did you drink off the fountain by any chance? You asked. Yup. He paused. Tasted like those cupcakes I had at Lord Minetta's last banquet. You let out a cough. Wait. Lord Minetta? As in King of the Dragon Slayers, Minetta? The berserker nodded. Was invited because he was marrying the succubus queen. She was pretty hot, but I'm not into sadistic bitches. He rubbed the back of his head. So, what did it taste like for you? Just, curious. Strawberry shortcake, you replied shyly. He looked into your eyes, and a blush came over both of you. His hair was still wet. Why did you come here anyways? I thought you didn't care about this fountain. You asked. And Bakugou shrugged. I don't know. Just all of a sudden I was bored and thought I'd follow you. He smiled, and you blushed harder. Was he really the one all along? He did look more handsome with the wet hair and light blush on his face. I love you. You burst out all of a sudden, and he gave you a satisfied grin. I love you. I'm sorry, guys. Mom called when I was just leaving the bathroom. You two looked at Tokoyama, who had a dumbfounded expression. What? You guys reached the garden yet? You looked up from your character sheet, completely thrown out of your thoughts. Yes, we did, birdface, barked Katsuki angrily. His entire body was shivering. Seemed like he was enjoying your little roleplay. An hour ago, Tokoyama had left your session of Dungeons and Villains to use the bathroom. Since he wasn't really into the game, you three had decided to keep playing until he comes back. The bird-faced boy smiled, not realizing what he had stumbled into. Okay then, just throw me back into the story whenever the opportunity arises. The rest of the evening was spent with your two friends, trying to find the energy fruit and then the exit. Both you and Katsuki didn't mention what happened at the fountain. Until you three decided to end the session and Tokoyama had left. By the end of it, he did seem to find enjoyment in playing. So your original goal of making him come out of his shell was a success. Katsuki helped you pack the game up. So, a fashion, he began. That, like, was your character, right? It took an insurmountable effort of determination to not blush. And you meekly just said, Yeah, was just, role-playing. Coward, you shouted inside your head. If only you had a fountain of love at UA. Maybe this would make it easier for you to confess your feelings to him.